did y'all have a cupcake or a cookie? Thanks to Deanna and Kelly for putting those together. Those are fantastic. So as you know, we're completing some renovations in the Portsmouth office right now, and it's due to our growth. And as a result, I actually became quite interested in the history of the building at Vaughan Mall. And actually, there's a lot of remnants of what once was in that location. In fact, it was 101 years ago, I think, this year, that in 1916, the theater, the Olympia Theater, opened up in the Vaughan Mall. And I don't know if anybody, some of you may be familiar with that, but it used to offer.
I was there.
Watch it now, watch it.
There may be people in this room who remember it.
That is very cool.
They offered vaudeville and what they called talkies.
Yep.
Right, movies. It had a run of 44 years, but it closed in 1950. And when we get up in the attic, you can still see remnants of this today. I mean, so that building has a legacy, right? And our Concord office, too, on North State Street, is also located in a historic residential building. It's been renovated now to house offices. I don't know much about the history of that building, but based on its design and the fact that there's those communication tubes on the front entrance, suggests to me that it's got to be 100 years old. So it has a legacy as well. So I find these things fitting as we celebrate 2 additional milestones. So, but instead of celebrating buildings' legacies, we're actually here to celebrate people and their legacy. So the first thing we're celebrating is our 35th anniversary. It was in 1982 when this firm was incorporated by Jay Grumbling and Frank Underwood. At that time, it was named G and Underwood. Jay was president, and Frank was vice president. So why did the vice president get the name on the door, and the president only got a G?
Rumblewood sounded really weird.
Well, a lot of you probably know why, but this was Frank's and Jay's first major marketing decision. They knew nobody really probably wanted to be hired, have an engineering firm called Grumbling Engineers. So it paid off, and Underwood's name has been on the door ever since. So, a side note about those naming conventions, I think Frank is the only one who doesn't follow our email naming conventions, right? First initial, last name. So it was another significant decision because he didn't want to have his email address Thunderwood. So the second thing we are celebrating, speaking of Frank, is his retirement, and I think that's probably the most important. Frank's been a consulting engineer for 44 years. Only 9 of those years were with another firm. So he's really is Underwood Engineers. He has done incredible projects and created a great firm. He's provided an incredible legacy. It is unfortunate that Frank can't be here with us tonight, but I wanted to take a few moments to share what he's actually done to make this firm a great place to work, and a firm that provides what I think is exceptional client service. So in my view, Frank created the UEI, the UE culture, and we're honored to build on it. Remember Magsby? Where's Peter? What is it, Peter? Yeah. In fact, I think it boils down to a few simple things that I think Frank always did. I think it's 3 things. As I sat down this morning to write this, in fact, I just put this together this morning. Saying thank you. Frank always said thank you. Saying thank you when one of the technicians finishes a drawing or one of the administrative staff brings back a letter that you needed typed. A thank you goes a long way to feeling appreciated, even for the simplest things. The other one, having your back. Frank believed in teamwork. I can't think of a time that Frank wasn't right there with me or any of us when things got challenging. He always gave credit and never placed blame. He helped find solutions, and as he would say, would never throw somebody under the bus. Have you ever heard him say that? The third thing I thought of was having fun and being a family. Frank always had fun with work, always. You always knew when Frank was in the office because of his laugh. His laugh. It would echo down the halls. You couldn't help but hear it. And he'd always say, let's have some fun. So these things, being appreciated and supported, are incredibly important as we continue our good work through this family of Underwood engineers, all while having as much fun as we can. We have Frank to thank for that. So Colleen, Steve, and I always comment that we hope to continue to provide the same kind of culture. You can still hear us say, if we're sitting, the three of us sitting together, you know, what would Frank do? Or Frank would approach it that way. Frank would approach it like this. Some of you might remember, in fact, it was 5 or 10 years ago when the ownership transition first occurred, that we gave Frank a simple plaque. At that time, we had changed the logo for the company, and we gave him a simple engraving of that new logo, UE, with a small brass plate that was just fastened to the bottom of the logo, and it just had 2 words. All it said was "thank you." Frank's not much for fanfare, as you probably know. And I don't know if many of you saw him come, I think it was last week when he was in the office. He finally packed his last boxes from his space. It was kind of surreal. I went in to see him and told him that I felt we should pop a bottle of champagne or give him some sort of a celebration. Yeah. He said, no, I don't do that. I think for him, he is happiest in knowing that his legacy is continuing on with this firm, supporting people and family, not just the bricks and mortar. He is a family man, and he has created a family here. That is Frank's legacy. So that is what I want us to remember about Frank's gift to this firm and his dedication to all of us. To highlight some of Frank's dedication, just consider the numbers. 500,000 miles. That is the calculated number of miles that Frank commuted back and forth to 25 Vaughan Mall. He has never commuted to a job at any other location. It's the only space he's worked in. $35,000. If calculated correctly, it's the amount you probably spent in gas. 1,000 people. That is the number of employees and direct family members, spouses and children included, that this firm has supported over the 35 years. We have 210 job numbers, I think. Employee numbers. So as most of you probably know, Frank and Linda are dealing with some very difficult health issues with their family right now. It's why they're not here tonight. I know that they wanted to be, because he loves this family. Maybe it is okay that he is not, because he probably wouldn't want all this attention. But I do think, though, what he would appreciate more than anything is a nice thank you next time you see him. And we do expect to see him. A simple statement to know that he, too, is still appreciated and that he has created something special. You don't need to say much or even know what to say. He'll know what it means if you simply say thank you. So, as we move forward for another 35 years, this group, I think, is positioned to do great things. We've already talked about the history and legacy that laid the foundation for us, just like the historic buildings we work in. But what the coolest thing is, there's a lot of history yet to be made. Just consider this. We had our highest sales last year in the history of the firm. We have as much backlog as we've ever had. We have challenging and interesting projects and clients, and some big projects, bigger than we've ever had. And we have fantastic, energetic, and a fun group of staff, including all the newer engineers who are having families of their own. Where's Jess? And that's just a sampling. So I'm impressed with who we are. a family firm, a team that is doing incredible work. I'm proud to work here. I'm proud to have all of you as my peers. And I just have to say too, I particularly enjoy the energy of, is it the back room or table 7? Or whatever they call themselves today, the minions. Check the poster on the door. They do great work, and actually, they make me laugh. Not only are they winning most of the prizes at the Christmas party, but I think a lot of these folks, at least in the Portsmouth office, they're actually working out together at lunchtime. I think it's in big part due to Megan and maybe Valerie.
Yeah, Coach
Valerie. So, you know, you'll see Ben, Jeff, Megan, Kelly, Mike coming up the stairs after lunchtime, looking like, to me, like they just got hit by an excavator. So that's great camaraderie. This group is the future of UE. So I'm going to come back to those guys in a second, but first I'd like to provide a few thank yous as well by recognizing some of the people that really have been part of UE for a long time. I mean, we've talked a little bit about Frank's legacy, but there's a lot of folks here that have been here for a long time. These folks, I think, maintain the foundation of the firm. They are a big part of the foundation of the firm. So there are 3 people in this room that have actually been with Underwood for over 30 years. The company's celebrating 35 years. They've been here 30. That's Steve, Bob, and Colleen. There's 4 people here that have been with the company for over 20 years. That's Phil. All right. Okay. That's myself, Roxanne, and Tom. We have 11 people that have been here for over 10 years. I don't think all of you guys are here today, but Dave Mercier is one of them. He's not here tonight. Peter, Mike Metcalf, Dan Rochette, Valerie, Ben, Heidi, Barbara, Mike Unger, Dan O'Toole, and Dave Foster. That's just about 50% of our family with over 10 years with the firm. So these folks have created a lot of history here as well. So one last thing before we try to keep up with Roxanne and Colleen on the dance floor. We, in Underwood tradition, we have a team exercise to get to know better the younger and new staff. These guys are also doing great things, and we want to thank them too. They are, in fact, a big part of this family, and they actually represent the future of this firm. If your name was not mentioned as 10 years or more, I need you up front. So I'd like everybody on the dance floor.
I'm not an engineer.
So these folks, we talked a lot about the history and Frank's legacy. This group right here, this is the future of Underwood. Our math is a little off. Allison has